I attended an event hosted by Rain and the Lane County Business Development Center about growing your business using YouTube. And I have a fantasy about becoming a YouTube star, so naturally I was intrigued. And it turned out it was really good. I learned a bunch of things and they covered a bunch of topics. There were two things that really caught my attention that I thought were worth sharing. First is about creating a video, and I'd love to walk you through the process that they shared for it. Step one is determine the story that you want to tell. What's the purpose of the video? Maybe it's sharing what you learned during an online event, or it could be sharing some sort of feature about your product. Then determine who should star in your video. Now, obviously it can be you, but it could also be an object, say like your product. Some ideas that they shared were, what's the process of your service? How-to videos, which apparently are one of the most searched for types of videos out there. How your product works, how your product is made, anything around your brand, and anything that might be special about your company. Basically, try to figure out what's something my customers would be interested in and make a video about it. Next, it's time to start writing your script. Your goal is to make your message as clear and concise as possible. Now, believe it or not, there is no time limit to the video. It's simply make it as long as it needs to be to make your message clear and concise, but no longer. You also want to make sure that you make a really strong impression in the first 5 to 15 seconds of the video to really capture their attention. And you also want to make sure that you have a call to action. Now, that call to action doesn't just need to be at the very end. You can actually intersperse that throughout the video. Humor doesn't hurt, nor does coming up with something surprising to show within the video. Finally, think about how you can capture the sights and sounds for your video. In other words, don't just be a talking head. Use some B-roll, use some overlaid graphics to bring the video more to life. When you start shooting, there's actually a hierarchy to what's important. And surprisingly, at least to me, number one is sound. People will watch a grainy, not very good quality video, but if they can't hear it, they'll click away right at once. So that's where you want to make sure your sound is great. I, for example, have cheated and I have a little microphone right here that I'm using. Second is lighting. Use natural light if possible, or at the very least, do some sort of diffused lighting that completely and evenly covers your subject. Third is your space. You want to keep it clean, and it's okay to show your logo or your company workspace, which this is my company workspace, so check. Then, only after all of that should you look into getting a better camera. For 90% of us, the cameras on our phones are going to be perfect. And honestly, if you don't fix those other three things first, a better camera won't actually do you much good. After you're done shooting, you do want to spend some time editing. If you're on a Mac, iMovie's great. If you're on Windows, there's an app called OpenShot that's free to use. And obviously there are paid versions such as Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere, but you don't need to go there. The free ones are totally fine to get started. And that's creating a video. Pretty straightforward. The other aspect that I found really interesting was in creating ads. Now, as an effectual entrepreneur, I doubt that we'll be doing like YouTube ads anytime soon, but I still thought it was interesting and worth sharing. All right, there's basically two types of ads in YouTube. There's the 6-second bumper ad. I'm sure that you all have seen them. It just shows it and then it moves on. But then there's also another type that's called a true view ad. And this one is the one where after 5 seconds, the viewer can opt to skip and move ahead. What I thought was so fascinating was they said if you could tell your story in about 6 seconds, do that, but then turn it into a true view ad where you actually fill the remaining 24 seconds with some sort of semi-static image or call to action. So think about it. What happens is they see your video, they see what your message is for 6 seconds, and then it's just kind of a static thing, and chances are they're going to click through. Why this is so powerful is because in true view ads, if they click the skip button, you do not get charged. You're only charged if they make it all the way to the end of your video or to 30 seconds. So it's a way of not really cheating the system, but if you can get your message down really quick, you can then save some money on people, that cost per view, because they'll have got your message, but then just want to move on. It's a really cool idea that I thought was worth sharing and not that hard to do. What's also cool about ads is that you can make them hyper-specific to your topic or to some search term. And so there are companies, and Taco Bell was a great example, where they will create a bunch of variations of the exact same type of ad, and then they will pair them with different search terms. So like they might say, tired of watching cat videos? Get a taco. Or tired of watching slow-mo videos? Get a taco. Tired of watching babies laugh? Get a taco. And then they pair them with it. It's a way of making it just a little bit more personalized. So depending on your brand type and obviously your time and energy, that may be a really cool way to differentiate your ads from everyone else's. So that's what I learned. I found it helpful, and it fed my fantasies of wanting to become a YouTube star, so that's always a good thing. I hope that you also found it helpful.